Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7. So yesterday evening on the 2nd of December we finally got our first look at the Genesis VGT in the flesh, obviously for the World Finals. It's all about celebrating the 10th anniversary of the Vision Gran Turismo project. So probably by the time this video goes live we'll actually also have the Bulgari VGT revealed. However, I will be doing a video just talking about my opinions on that later on tomorrow. But today we're going to go full focus with the Genesis VGT and my overall thoughts and opinions on the car itself. So on screen you're going to see some, I guess, looks into the Genesis VGT, and at first I am not going to lie, I was majorly disappointed. What I saw from the original trailer or the teaser image that we got was this kind of, I guess, opinion that this was going to be almost a race car like VGT, and well, as you can see, this is completely the opposite. This is obviously a road going VGT, meaning that, well, obviously at the time of recording this my hopes are in the hands of the Bulgari for pulling out almost a, I guess, a kind of race styling VGT. But you know, after that kind of disappointment faded and you know I kind of thought about it a little bit more, I honestly do not hate the Genesis VGT, and I honestly didn't think I'd actually be saying that. So at the current time of actually making this video, it's been a few hours since the actual reveal itself, and I've had some time to sort of look through some of the screenshots of the car, you know, look into the interior, look into the style of it, and really kind of think more about it. So after that initial disappointment of it not being a race VGT kind of, you know, faded away, and I started looking at the car for what it is, which is clearly, you know, sort of a very high-end road VGT, I did honestly start to appreciate this car more, which is just, again, something I didn't think I'd be saying. Now VGTs, for me, my opinion, especially on the GT7 ones, are that the majority of them that we've received, apart from maybe the Ferrari, have just been absolutely pathetic and really not anything special. However, for the Genesis VGT, I'm really starting to go towards the sort of side that I actually like this vehicle. Now for me, it's all in the styling itself. Whilst okay, you can tell this is a very futuristic vehicle, it genuinely looks like a concept car that could naturally be made into a production car, very much like we see with real concept cars. It doesn't look too far-fetched, you know, it doesn't look like something so crazy that I honestly don't think we'll see that for another 50 years kind of thing. Now in terms of the styling itself, this is where I began to really appreciate it. Maybe it's just me, but the more I look at this car, I'm really getting styling cues from the likes of Aston Martin and maybe even sort of a mix of TVR. I mean, I think recently they released, you know, in the last 5 years or so, a more up-to-date TVR. We do see it in other racing games. It really is giving me kind of mixed vibes with that. Now, the reason I say this is because for me, a lot of British cars are very subtle to look at from a distance. So maybe something like an Aston Martin passes you by and, you know, it's, yes, very good to look at, but you don't realize that it's actually a lot more crazy after you start taking more looks at it. And that's kind of the way I start seeing this. You know, the more I've looked into it, the more I've seen some of these vents and some of the styling cues, and I realize that whilst from the outside perspective it might be quite held back, but the more you look into the details you realize that there is a lot more going on with this vehicle, and there it becomes a lot more kind of performance look, kind of looking in terms of how it presents itself. So yeah, definitely getting some really kind of mixed vibes with it. It really does feel like a bit of a mix and match of different cars. I'm seeing, you know, part Aston Martin inspiration, part TVR, part Porsche with that rear bar light, and then obviously you've got the typical sort of American sports car feel with how this actually presents itself in terms of the way its body lines work and just the kind of shape of the car itself. So it really is a visually appealing car, and it's definitely one of those that I think will grow on people more over time. Now there is quite a few kind of minor details that I really do like about it. Number one being the steering wheel. It is closely resembling a PlayStation controller, which I really do like, and again, whilst it's clearly very futuristic, it does still seem like something that could possibly be put into high-end cars maybe in another 5 years time or so. It doesn't feel like it is completely in the future anymore. In terms of just the overall presentation of the car, I'm genuinely very happy with this. Now, obviously, how excited am I to drive this in Gran Turismo 7? Now, at first, I was completely just against the idea. I just thought, okay, this feels like a bit of a throwaway car, not something I'm necessarily going to use. But again, just from a styling standpoint and just the way it actually presents itself and looks, I honestly think this may be a car that, if it does keep itself as grounded in reality than it actually looks, then, you know, who knows, it could actually be a usable car in GT7. Now, I'm not going to hold my breath for that. I think the majority of VGTs are just very, very useless cars, but I'm just kind of hoping that this one doesn't fall into that category. So there you go. That's my, I guess, initial thoughts on the Genesis VGT. Overall, I am fairly excited to see this come into the game. Do I think it's absolutely perfect or what I expected? No, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like I said, it's just one of those cars that, you know, I feel like players will kind of warm to it over time. And let's be honest, most of us are probably going to get this for free anyway, so really, who cares? You know, it's a free car. Again, we're going to be able to drive it and, you know, race it and kind of test it out when it actually drops in game. So yeah, not a bad car actually. I definitely do like where they've gone with this. Again, not too far-fetched and kind of more grounded in reality. Maybe not necessarily what I was expecting from a Genesis VGT, but certainly something that I can see myself, you know, possibly using into GT7's life cycle. So there we go. That's my overall opinion. Let me know what you guys think down below. I'm genuinely interested to kind of know what your guys' overall thoughts are. I know most people will probably see it as blasphemous. You know, you can't like VGT cars. They're terrible. They're boring. You know, who cares at the end of the day? This is a pretty cool project. It's something that Gran Turismo's kind of held, you know, I guess close to them for many years, as far back as I remember. It was like 2002 Tokyo to Geneva concept. So all the VGT program feels like is a continuation of those kind of older games as previous. So, you know, who knows? Let me know what you think, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Peace.